living in the information age. We expect to hear all of the news before it's even happened. But on today's show, we're going to look back at the early days of communications before fax machines and live satellite transmissions.
Hi, welcome to The Collectors. We'll start with an innovative delivery service from the Old West. Bob's gathered together a collection from all over Oregon, so let's join him for a stroll down Main Street at the High Desert Museum. Then we'll have appraisals in our Portland studio.
Next, we have a huge collection of radios and my favorite form of communication, TVs.
Just a gigolo everywhere I go.
If you ever curled up in a soft chair in front of a cathedral radio to listen to Bing Crosby, then you have something in common with Sonny Clair. He loves early radio and TV shows, but he's an even bigger fan of American know-how. He likes nothing better than showing off the old technology. After an 8-hour day as a Portland TV repairman, he retreats to his basement at home, away from the wife and children, to tinker with his collection, restoring and repairing even primitive radio sets from the 20s. He doesn't talk much about himself. His passion is Yankee ingenuity.
You know, when it was beginning, it's kind of like video stores now. Everybody and their brother was selling tubes and batteries and accessories, and even radios built in garages were sold quite commonly in the early days.
You'd better be ready to hear about his earliest set, a loose coupler receiver made by Murdoch in 1913. Yes, it's a radio, even though it looks like a bunch of spare parts on a board. With sliding coils and condensers, you tune and select the station.
And of course, the all-important crystal is the little device here, which allows you to detect the audio signals from the incoming radio signals.
Sonny says when radio began, people listened only to code. Then came the human voice, with farm reports and music. Headsets were standard gear at first, but later, sound came out of horns and cone speakers. This 1919 gooseneck horn works like a cheerleader's megaphone. One of Sonny's favorites, from the Burns Company, has a flower-shaped bell.
Some people call that tortoiseshell, but in reality it's of an early plastic material called pyron.
The town crier hides a snail-shaped horn inside. And for the economy-minded, here's a speaker with a headphone attachment. Some early radios cost as much as a car, and there were all kinds of styles and prices. Northwest Radio in Portland, Oregon, advertised this set in 1923.
I like it because I have an ad that points out how simple this radio is to operate. And as you can see, with 11 dials on it, it's not all that simple.
The electric era came next in 1926.
When I first started collecting, cathedral radios and plastic table radios were considered nothing but junk. Nobody wanted those.
Sonny tells us now cathedrals and plastic radios are hot collector's items. In the 30s and 40s, the radio became a part of the American living room. There were floor models with legs and without legs, even chairside sets. How about a grandfather clock or a lamp that could bring you the latest news and entertainment? Everybody had a radio. Philco let you pay for their sets on your electric bill for a few pennies a week. Manufacturers had a heyday.
The Johnson Wax Program with Fibber McGee and Molly.
The Lux Radio Theater brings you Rita Hayworth and Charles Corbin in This Love of Ours.
The shadow knows.
You can see TVs at Sonny's, too. In 1929, you built one with a kit. A motor-driven disc with spiral holes gave you an orange and black picture that looked something like this. Later, there were picture tubes. All were round, but masked in many ways by the cabinets.
This little cabinet here actually contains a television, and you viewed it through the mirror in the lid. This was made as a space-saving device. If the tube mounted that way, it would set about 4 to 5 inches closer to the wall.
You had to sit exactly 4 feet in front of this 1958 portable called the Safari, or you'd only see part of the picture. And this Predicta by Philco was often called the gas pump. It had a swivel screen. The early TVs were well made, and Sonny says some had the best color ever developed. Old-time technology is definitely worth a second look.
These days, it's impossible to keep up with the explosion in communications.
People are communicating from everywhere at once.
So we appreciate your taking the time to look back with us.
We'll see you next week.
Bye.
This is PBS.